The Kings have officially hit rock bottom. Two of their star players are out for the season. They're on a 14-game losing streak, and everything that could have went wrong with the Sacramento Kings. Big Ox, are you out there? Can you hear me? Has went wrong with the city of Sacramento. And what is going on? What's the deal in Sacramento?
That's
anything?
The response. That's exactly the response.
Oh, man. I mean, 14 in a row is crazy. But look, they're the worst team in the league, man. They got the worst record in the league. For me, I don't know how anyone looked at this off season for them and was excited about what they could do. It was just to me a mix mash of just guys past their prime, guys who were just going to fill in a role. They needed to give money to people. Like, it was just a bizarre situation in Sacramento. Couple that with a few injuries, we'll probably get into that run about the season-ending injuries. Yeah, and all of a sudden, the worst team in the league are only going to get worse. So I'm just glad that they own their own picks, because this isn't a Clippers situation where they don't. So they got one first rounder, 2 second rounders this upcoming draft. So man, they need something, because it's a bit crazy how bad it's become in Sacramento.
Are they actively tanking, or are they this bad?
Is it possible to say both?
You know what's crazy? Yeah, both. It's crazy, man. Because I think before the start of the season, when they're bringing in some of these veteran guys, Russ, DeRozan was there, Levine, healthy, all these things. I think that they thought they had a chance this year, just leaning into their experience and leaning into. Yeah, I know that's the problem. I think they before the season, Penn, as every team has that sort of level of optimism. And then as the season plays out, that slowly dies away as the teams become worse and worse. So I reckon they had that, but it quickly fades, man. You know how the NBA season goes. The cream always rises to the top, and they just got a bunch of guys that are just past their prime, and the roster doesn't make sense. And now they've got off, Keon Ellis, who I thought was a part of their building block for the future, but obviously not. So I think the front office, as we've discussed previously, still has question marks. Will they get it right, Ron, in this upcoming draft? Because it feels like a draft you have to get it right. The stakes have never been higher for the Kings. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out, man.
I truly believe in culture building, man. I do. Every player that comes into your organization is learning from the coaches, from the organization. They're seeing, they're observing. This is how things are done in Sacramento. I think the problem in Sacramento, and I would say this has been the problem for the last however long he's owned the team, is the owner, Vivek Ranadive. Ever since I heard him say the word Stauskas, man, I've been off that dude. I just cannot.
What year was that? That was 2012?
Yeah, man. It's just short-sighted move after short-sighted move. Drafting Davion Mitchell in the lottery. Like, when you reach that high, you better be right. They have made so many dumb decisions. This is a team that had Tyrese Halliburton, had De'Aaron Fox. And it's like, yo, we are in the player mobility era. Good players are not sticking around for trash franchises. They will push their way out. I don't know. I can't. I just can't with this team. I feel bad. It's one of my... Yo, man, going back to the early 2000s, one of my favorite teams. Glory days. Mike Bibby, Vlade Divac. Wow, what a team, man. Jeez.
Yeah, and I'm a bite off full possession. That is their page on Instagram. They put out a post and it said this: where did it go wrong for the Kings? Question mark. In 2023, they pushed the Golden State Warriors to 7 games, and they looked like they'd finally turned the corner. Since then, they've missed the playoffs twice, moved from De'Aaron Fox, and Tyrese Halliburton, and now they sit with the worst record in the league. The roster is filled with aging veterans, no tradable assets, there's no young core to build around, and no direction. For a franchise that waited 16 years just to make the playoffs. For a franchise that waited 16 years just to make the playoffs. Hey, Big Ox, for a franchise that waited 16 years just to make the playoffs, watching this fall apart so quickly is brutal. There's nothing to look forward to, no plan, no future, just vets on a sinking ship. That kind of like paints the whole picture for the Sacramento. Am I forgetting anything? Am I leaving anything out, Mars?
Oh, not drafting Luka
Oh, yeah, that one too.
was, that's just another draft miss. If you go back to that comment, like if you go back and you go through the draft, it is painful, man, for the Kings. That's why I said, like, they got to get it right this year, man. Because if they don't, could be looking at another 16 years, Ox.
Ox, you gonna come up here and stand up for Marvin Bagley?
What about Marvin? Why are we talking about Marvin Bagley? What about Marvin Bagley?
Oh, he just said they didn't draft Luka, so I'm curious if you're about to tell us how good Marvin Bagley was.
I don't gotta tell you how good Marvin Bagley was. Y'all know how good Marvin Bagley was. Y'all was watching.
There you go.
He was the best player in the country. That was.
So you would have made the same decision?
Yes, I would have. Okay. If I was Phoenix, I would have drafted Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley should have went number 1. I mean, y'all, I know you like to live in that hindsight world and you pretend like you knew everything, but be for real. Marvin Bagley should have went number 1. He was the best player in the country.
You know the beautiful thing, Ox, about being a very public person with a very public record is I don't have to cap about what I thought back in 2016, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22. It's all on record. Okay.
No doubt.
I think a lot of people believe that Luka should have, probably been the number 1 pick in that draft, but I understand the concerns.
I mean, a lot of people might have thought that, and a lot of people picked Marvin Bagley and DeAndre Ayton.
For sure.
They missed, but that's a part of the draft. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of the draft.
I said the draft. That's what that season is based on now. I don't think they came into the season tanking. Then they sucked, and then they started tanking. And now here we are. But yeah, the draft. I don't know who they're going to take. I don't know what pick they're going to get, but that's really what that matters. Are they going to have someone to build around, whoever that may be?
They will for sure have a top 4 pick, right? Just seeing that they have the worst record in the league.
No,
that doesn't
they have for sure a top 5 pick.
Okay.
Now.
Highest
if
odds,
they stay with the worst record.
Yeah.
Which they probably will.
So like moving forward, are the Kings in a worse position out of everybody?
Let's see. Are they in a worse position than the Wizards? Yes. Are they in a worse position than the... Yeah. I mean, they're in a pretty bad position. I cannot think of a team that is in a worse position. I guess one team that's in a worse... Why are the Nets in a worse position? They're in Brooklyn.
I'm asking. I don't...
No, they're in Brooklyn. They got a young roster. They got decent contracts that can be moved very easily. I think they're good, man. They don't have an aging roster. Their roster is young. I mean, it's okay to be.
We'll be all right.
I mean, what do you think DeMontis is netting you? Because obviously y'all are trying to trade him. Y'all were trying to trade him, trying to get multiple picks or whatever.
We could have traded DeMontis a long time ago. It's just like, it's just how like teams do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, remember the Celtics were trying to trade Jaylen Brown, and then that never happened. You know what I mean? That's no big deal that a player was on the trading block. I mean, DeMontis isn't sensitive like that, so it's not that serious. He'll be back. He tried to rehab and play through that meniscus, which he probably should have never tried to come back from in the first place. But he'll be back next season. We still got Malik. You know what I mean? We still got a couple pieces to build around, especially if we get a solid draft pick, which regardless of what the season looks like, I am still adamantly against tanking. But I don't think we tanked. We just lost DeMontis, lost Zach LaVine. We were terrible. And we just really, really sucked, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think we were tanking. Now, what we do with these next and Keegan, that's right, lost Keegan too, and still got Keegan. But, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with these last 30, but I hope we still try to win games, you know what I mean? Even though I don't see how we'll do it. But we got DeMontis, we got Malik, we got Keegan. We still got some pieces to build around. We get a good draft pick, so we'll be all right.
Y'all got 4 key games against tanking teams: Indiana, Utah, and 2 games against Brooklyn. If you guys
We
do
should beat
play
Brooklyn.
to win those games, I feel like you could lose out on the worst record, which is a crazy statement. But
Yeah, that's an incredible thing.
Do
to
any of
say.
you usually, Ron, the worst teams in the league at least have some sort of very young prospects where people can talk themselves into what they can become? When I look at the Kings, I don't know if I have that for any of their guys yet. Like, which is why I said that I think they have to hit on this draft, like more than ever, because they've gone through the whole point guard situation. Got off Dennis Schroeder now. Russ is Russ, obviously. Chose between De'Aaron Fox and Hallie. Ultimately flipped De'Aaron Fox. Even had someone like Markel Fultz on the roster actually in like 23, 24, I believe. Like this point guard situation has to be sorted out. It feels like in the league now you need an elite point guard. So yeah, I didn't look at any of their young prospects and think that they got a building block yet. Like I no one would be off limits for me. Maybe Keegan, I don't know, but they've committed a lot of money to him as well now.
Devin Carter is the point guard of the future, man. You guys gonna find out.
oh my
I
god,
told y'all he's a bug.
oh my god,
I told y'all he was a bug.
Ron, I'm gonna tell you honestly, it's hard to talk about this team. It's really hard. It's really hard. It's hard to get excited. It's hard to talk about them. I feel like I'm at a funeral, bro. I really am. Because I mean, as much as I talk
This is
about this,
nasty energy right now up here.
yo, this sucks, bro.
Well, you want us to be happy that the Kings?
No.
suck?
I'm saying it's the energy is exactly what it's supposed to be like, based on the topic that we're
Ron,
talking about.
What type of energy did you expect us to have with this title? Like,
I mean, the thing
like
about
that-
it is
they
we
said
all
there's
love
really
basketball.
nothing- we do, and I mean, you know, I love my team.
And the
Ron, but
Kings
like-
are bad basketball. That's
Like,
No,
there's
I'm
no-
not.
there's
What I'm
nothing-
saying
there's
is, I'm
nothing to
not
get
saying the
excited
energy's
about
supposed to be good, and I get it. I'm right there with you guys. The thing about it is, it's just like it's an unfortunate situation. DeMontis is out for the season. Zach is out for the season. Those are 2 very good basketball players.
I feel like the voice that we are missing on this conversation is actually Chilltown Hoops. Because I feel like he would get
so
me
he could
hyped.
dog us some more.
What
Nah,
would he say? What would Chill say right now?
Chill
Ken?
wouldn't do anything but talk about those. We suck.
feel-
he would absolutely dog us right now.
I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to go into my brain and be like, what would Chill say? You got DeMontis Sabonis, right? So you got the big man. You got the big man in the middle, right? And you got these young guys.
What young guys, shit, Penn?
I mean, that dude, Maxime Reynaud,
I like.
he's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Reno,
You know?
I like Maxine,
Clifford,
but
Okay.
I like
Right?
Devin Carter.
So I'm just trying to figure out what y'all trying to do, right?
Please stop
What about
saying that.
what's his name?
You drafted him like
shout
2
to-
years ago.
What about Buddy that you guys took last year?
Neek
Maxine
Clifford.
Yeah,
Reynaud, Neek Clifford, that's what I'm talking
how's
about.
Neek looking? How are we feeling about Neek?
he was
Like a 23-year-old
He's a-
rookie, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
Neek
He's a solid
Clifford is
basketball
23.
player, but,
Yeah,
He
but
was hurt as
he's
well,
not.
but, yeah.
He's not a building block. I don't think
He's not a needle. He's not a
needle.
needle mover to me. I don't know what all the hype is.
I don't think the Kings have it.
Maxine
I don't think the
Reynaud.
Kings have a needle mover, in my opinion. They have some decent young
except for
players, but not
DeMontis.
anyone you build around. Yeah, but I'm talking about like the young guys. I think
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
Reynaud is cool. I think Neek is cool. I think Devin Carter is not very cool.
Not very cool.
And like that's it. Like their building block has to be in this draft. And if they draft another point guard, it's gonna be tough because they had Halliburton, they had De'Aaron, and then they ended up moving him. So I don't even know if they know what to do with a point guard.
but this is the
Well,
short-sightedness.
It's Mike Brown. Mike Brown. We got Debo, and Mike Brown took the ball out of Foxy's hands, and that was the end of everything right there. That was the end of it for us. So we gotta bounce back. It's gonna take some time, but
Bro, there's a point guard yesterday who just had 50.
Oh, wait, god
I
damn.
watched the end of that game.
Mm.
It was chopping.
I think the Sacramento Kings are a good exploration in how not to build a basketball team. If I'm
How so?
being honest, because there's a moment in time where you are in talent accumulation mode and you don't have to think too much about position and fit. You just want to acquire like top end talent and develop it, right? You want to put those players in good position. You want to get the right development staff in. And you don't want to think too much about, okay, well, we already have Fox, so let's not get Luka. We already have Fox, so let's trade Hallie. I don't think you need to think too much about that. I think you just need to give it some time to develop, right? Now, that's kind of where I'm at right now, where it's like they have a bad tendency of drafting older rookies. They've been doing it for a long time. They like to draft like 3-4 year players very high, first round, etc. And they prefer to go for the sure thing. And I understand that, but the problem is the rest of the league does not feel about your assets the way you feel about your assets. You might think, oh, this guy fits in perfectly what we're doing, but how high is the rest of the league on him? I always say when you mess up like a top 10 pick, mess up a top 10 pick that other people believe in. Don't be reaching for Josh Primo, right? Like that's a mess. Shout outs to Josh Primo. When you reach that,
the Spurs got Josh Primo.
They did, but I'm saying,
Well, to be fair, he was the opposite of a Kings draft pick. He was like the youngest player in the draft.
He was the youngest player in the draft, but he was also a player that nobody really thought of as a lottery pick, right? So when that guy fails, there's no market for him. There's no market for him.
But wait a second, though, Pin. Like the main, I mean, of recent with like this front office, the guys we've drafted, I mean, except for this last draft, haven't really been like older. I mean, we typically, I mean, the main guys that we draft to try to build around have mostly been younger guys. I mean, if you want to dig into like the past,
Davion?
Okay.
Well, Devin Carter, when you drafted him, was what he played. How many years he played?
I'm saying
because he went to
Devin Carter was a lottery pick. Davion Mitchell was a lottery pick. They were two of the oldest lottery picks in the last 5 years.
Keegan was a bit older as well.
Keegan was 23 as well.
I'm talking about of the main guys that we've got to like really build around, except for like Keegan. I don't really see what you mean.
But that's because you haven't really had good draft picks recently.
The top
Keegan was like the last time you had a lottery pick. Well, Devin Carter, but.
Devin Carter, Davion Mitchell, like... Keegan Murray. That's 3 lottery picks, all of whom were 4-year players.
And Keegan and Davion were good.
To be fair, even Halliburton was what, 2 years?
Yeah,
3 years?
Hallie was a few years in Iowa State, and he was a baller. So like those.
I'm not questioning that.
Those three draft picks were like solid draft picks. The other like Devin Carter first of all that was a terrible draft pick in a terrible draft. So it was just like,
I think you're looking at draft picks as players as opposed to assets, and that's why I'm saying like,
absolutely I am. Yeah. I think
I'm
looking at both.
And that's why I'm saying
no, Ox and Mars don't do this. They are absolutely assets. Proceed.
No, I mean or they're
I said they weren't, but when I
saying,
talk about draft picks, I view them as players. Yeah, for sure, because they're players.
I look at them as people, not
they're
property.
both.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I appreciate the sentiment and trying to be humanitarian here, but ultimately they are both.
Yeah, I am a humanitarian.
They are assets. They are
trees.
players. So, sorry, you talking about planting trees? You brought that up unprovoked. Okay,
I do that on my off time.
So I'm just saying, like you got to look at it as, if this guy pans out, what's the market? If he doesn't pan out, what's the market? There has to be a floor on the asset. You might love a player, but that player is 28th, 27th on everyone else's board, and you think you're big braining it by picking him 8th, right? And he's 28th for a reason on other people's boards, because people are seeing the long-term potential. So just because he comes out and he's a good player right away, it doesn't mean that when you want to trade that player, there's going to be a market for that player. I don't know if I'm explaining what I'm trying to say properly, but like there are guys who have a higher value base, and it goes beyond what they're producing on the court. It's based on how teams look at them going forward into the future. Right.
I think so. I think you're explaining. I get what you're saying. I absolutely understand what you mean, and I think that's fair. Like I think that's a fair way to look at it. I just think it's you gotta kind of choose. Like, am I gonna draft somebody and go all in with them? Am I thinking about like plan B, or am I just going, is this my guy, or am I, I don't want to be too cautious and timid about the person I pick. And there's a bunch of different ways to make draft picks, a bunch of different ways to GM, but I absolutely understand what you're saying, though. I think that's a fair way to look at it.
Not seeing the vision with Hallie was bad, man. Hallie was the one where they didn't see the vision with him about how.
And he really wanted to stay. He really wanted to stay.
Yeah, they got Sabonis, and Sabonis is been probably
Yeah,
the
Spence is fine.
shining light. To be fair,
That's a rough one,
But they're
Damien,
trying to
because
flip
I
now.
always thought Hallie was really good. I just always liked De'Aaron Fox more. Always thought De'Aaron Fox was what we needed, and like we had to get DeMontis, and it was kind of one of those things. Like, damn, I had to do it.
It's tough.
was-
Why you
It's
shaking
tough
your head,
because
Swiper?
Hallie,
I was. Yeah.
Bro,
Go ahead.
Hallie, like I remember that draft very vividly. Like Hallie wasn't someone who, like, no one thought Hallie would be this good. Like, no one thought Hallie could be a guy that could lead a team to the NBA Finals. I think that his sort of draft like projection was like, this can be a very, very high level role player, intangible guy that can do just about everything on the floor, but maybe doesn't have like a superstar ceiling. But he sort of flipped that, and it's hard to know. Like at that time, it's hard to know. But it's funny what happens when you give the guy someone a whole offense to run, and you really try and maximize his gifts. So it's a tough one looking back. That's the one that sort of doesn't sit well with me when I look back. But it's also hard to know. So in fairness to them, hard to see.
Yeah, my only reasoning behind that, Damien, is that we had to get DeMontis.
yeah, obviously you had to.
And he's been good. I'm a fan of his as well. He's been good.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to revisit that, but you remember what was my reasoning with keeping Halliburton and trading Fox? It was just at that moment in time, Fox was already all-star level, one of the better point guards in the league, still had a tremendous future. Like at that moment in time, I would have traded Fox because I know I would have got more capital for him than Halliburton. That was my only reason, because I loved both of them. But ultimately, they don't have them both right now.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the check throw smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out here did raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. Yeah, this that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.